I guess we're starting. Hi everyone.
Hey.
Welcome to the Getting Started with YouTube Gaming. Is that the name of the
it's
panel?
YouTube Gaming. So yeah, let's everyone say their name. We'll head down the
Okay.
line.
So my name is Anthony. I go by AntDude on YouTube, and I do make game reviews. So I am part of the YouTube gaming culture. So that fits. That's cool.
My name is Jacob, also known as Alpharad, and I make some highly edited content, some for the good, some for the bad. I am not a game reviewer, but I'm also on this panel, and the game reviewer panel as well.
My name's Alex. I go by RelaxAlax online. I do design videos essentially, but now I do more review and comedy videos. I do a lot of variety stuff. Like this year has been a lot different. In the past I did something called Know Your Moves, and I just talked about Smash Bros. And characters and where their moves came from, as well as their history.
My name is Eduardo. I do a lot of Let's Plays. I've been doing this since 2010, full-time since 2012. I do it in Portuguese. Here just for the card.
So how now we get started? I guess we're here to talk about YouTube gaming as a streaming platform, because that's where YouTube gaming is. Even though there's gaming videos on YouTube, YouTube gaming, the platform, is meant for streaming.
Yeah.
I don't really have experience with YouTube gaming
Yeah.
as a streaming service.
As a platform, it was very recently added, and it's different because for a lot of the time YouTube's existed, they kind of shoved gaming to the back because they wanted to promote, like, you know, their makeup tutorials, your bloggers, your people that do skits. Gaming was not something they wanted on the forefront, and very apparent. It's very rare when you see a YouTube Rewind that there's a gaming channel in it, and it's like one person, even though it's arguable that they bring in the most revenue to the platform. But that said, YouTube gaming, I don't remember the year it was added.
Like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, I want to say like 2013, 2014. Probably 2014.
I think 14. Yeah, well, I do stream a lot with YouTube Gaming. I like the platform for that. I think the interface is better than the regular YouTube for streaming. Super Chat has been introduced a while ago. It's really good. They're changing sponsorships into memberships. That's really good. I feel like what we can help out the most here is talking about gaming on YouTube overall, not only for streaming but also for VODs.
Yeah, we're slowly and subtly going to transition this panel into gaming on YouTube rather than YouTube gaming, because we are a lot more knowledgeable on that.
Sure. So I think we all make gaming content of different varieties while kind of being the same conceptually. So very bare bones, typical game reviews, quote unquote, highly edited, how would
I wouldn't describe it like that. It's more insulting that way, but...
No, memes could be good. No, I'm talking mean. My apologies.
Memes also ruin everything.
No apologies. And then explain.
Oh yeah, now I do a lot more on the design side. Ant does reviews. I sort of went into reviews, so I've gotten my feet wet with that sort of stuff. It's very hard to get started with a lot of it because, as I said, YouTube doesn't like to promote a lot of gaming stuff. If you're trying to do Let's Plays, it's really hard to try and start doing that. And if you're trying to do any sort of thing, like let's say a donkey-esque video, sure, like you see donkeys, like, oh, I could do that. That seems relatively easy. Getting just out there seems really hard because it's just one of the most competitive parts of YouTube's just system. As I said, it's one of the biggest video topics online and on YouTube. Probably the one that makes them the most money, and probably the one that is the easiest to create because all you have to do is record a game and talk over it, and then you can put it up. So it's very easy to get lost in a lot of that stuff.
I do a lot of Let's Plays. I wouldn't recommend doing it just because I feel like it's so saturated. It's really hard to stand out. I started like in 2010, and back then for my scenario, not a lot of other people were doing that. So in a sense that helped me get noticed. But if you start out doing Let's Plays, it's really, really hard. And I feel like if you do interesting edited videos or if you do interesting documentary style videos, there's way more room for growth.
Pretty much on YouTube right now, people always say YouTube is too saturated, so why should I try and get into it? And I said the exact same thing when I started in 2014. So I don't really think there's ever going to be a time where a new channel can't just spawn and create something beautiful, more or less. But I definitely think that you have to find something that makes you stand out enough And from bare bones Let's Plays, I don't think there is anything anyone can do to add something new to that. Where me and many other notable YouTubers have side channels that are Let's Play channels, because the best way to promote a Let's Play channel is to have a more successful channel running beside it.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, it's really something you do with your friends for fun, because I have a side channel called Friends Without Benefits that is yeah, thank you. But it runs alongside my main channel, and as my main channel grows, the Let's Play channel grows alongside of it, not the other way around. Because Let's Play channels don't really grow, because we don't do anything to change them as time goes on. We just get more people. Let's Play channels have right to pander more than any other channel, because with Alpharad, I can grow more by branching out. But with the Let's Play channel, if I branch out, we lose our current viewers, because Alpharad, the subscribe to unsub viewers is typically 51% of people who watch my content are subscribers, and 49% who don't are not subscribers, new viewers, which is good exposure constantly. Whereas the Let's Play channel, Friends Without Benefits, it's like 88% of the viewers are subscribed, and then 12% aren't, which is a drastic difference. And that kind of goes to show where your standout content differs drastically from the Let's Plays.
Yeah, you hit on a very important point where it's really hard to stand out. Like you said, he wants to get those 50%, 40% new viewers on top of his 50% of people who are watching, which are subscribers. The beauty of YouTube, you get all the analytics there. So you can see that. And when it just comes to gameplay or anything like it, you can't really get any new people because you have to interest them. So I want to kind of bring it back to, okay, if I want to make gaming videos like maybe some of us up here, how exactly would you start? And I think for a lot of us, we maybe had a moment, we were talking about this yesterday, it starts a lot with luck, and then you build on top of that luck and you ride the wave, so to speak. So for my own example, the way I started the RelaxAlax YouTube channel, because I've been going at it for since 2008 with a lot of shit posts, but I started with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U analysis when the game was just about to come out, Wii U and 3DS, and I just broke down the game. It wasn't anything pretty. Game Explained did it way better, but I did breakdowns of the game, and that sort of net me my first 10,000, 20,000 subscribers. And the way I see YouTube is if you can get any momentum, you use that momentum to keep building your momentum. So you got viewers for Smash 4, then I made a series on Smash 4 characters, and then I did it on their games, and then now I'm where I'm at. I can make videos on pretty much anything. I did a video on fishing video games last month, and it did well. I'm like, wow, we've made it. We're doing okay for ourselves. I don't know, you guys can share your experiences with how you got started, but from what I can understand, it's a lot harder to get any sort of gaming video recognized these days because there's just so many. It's oversaturated. It's not impossible, but you have to be way more creative, I would have to say.
It definitely does take a little bit of luck. So the way it worked for me is I just simple game reviews, pull a game off a shelf. Because I've been doing videos for a long time, back when it was acceptable to just pull a game off a shelf, boom, that's my video. Can't do that much anymore. And then out of nowhere I did a video on ROM hacks for Sonic the Hedgehog, the old Genesis games. And the way YouTube is so weird, it lasted, got typical views. 2 months later, it showed up in the recommended feeds, and then it blew up, got 20,000 subs that month, and you just ride that wave ever since. But it could also be like a double-edged sword, because if a video blows up, that could also be bad, because now YouTube punishes future videos from underperforming. It's a weird... It's not ROM hacks. It's not ROM hacks, you're not wrong. But yeah, it's interesting, the evolution of content, because it's hard to try to stay active, because shitposting now does it does work. You don't have to be serious with your game reviews. You can be like, I'm just gonna film myself fishing and just talk about a video game. Sure. When it's back in the day, you can just take a webcam, point it at a TV, and be like, you know what, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting.
I feel like to be able to get noticed, you've got to do a good job with metadata. A lot of people don't talk about that, and I feel like it's really important to have good title, tags, thumbnail, description. Nowadays, I know description is more important than tags, but both description and tags will help you out with the search engine results and also monetization. The same way you can get demonetized from content that you put in the metadata, you can get better monetization and better discovery just from, talking about Mario 3, you want to have all the variations of Super Mario Bros. 3 in there. But as well, 2D platformer, Nintendo, you know, all the terms that make sense for you to put in there. Don't forget about that, because that helps with discovery as well as your income. I just wanted to put it out because I don't see a lot of people talking about that. And yeah, you can get...
put hashtags in the description.
Oh yeah, that's new.
The first, I'll see the first 3 hashtags you put in your description now show up above the title, which I don't know what that does for search results, because it's literally just added last
It's brand new. No, it's brand new.
So I don't know how that's going to affect anything, but there's more metadata in it. It might be more helpful because it adds on top of your title, so now your title doesn't have to pack in as much as it used to. Now you can have like 3 terms that describe the video, which is like, what's the point of tags at this point?
Tags have slowly been running obsolete as time's gone on, but they're still important. One thing that I tell everyone that is just a huge paradigm shift and it blows everyone's mind is that your people wants to say this video is good, why didn't it get views? I put a lot of time into this video. Why did this video that I didn't put time into get more views? And that's understandable. The thing is, nobody knows how good a video is when they click on it. People click on a video because it is branded well. It either spikes their interest or, if we're being honest, it baits them in. The combination of your title and your thumbnail are the most powerful resources you have if you want to grow on YouTube. It sounds too simple to be true, but that's absolutely how it is.
Clickbait thumbnails?
Not necessarily clickbait thumbnails, but just how your titles work and how your thumbnails work. You want them to be appealing. Clickbait just sounds so deceitful, but you can make honest thumbnails and still be appealing. Because if you want your title to ask a question without prompting a question, if that makes sense. You want them to see something and want to know, and you want them to ask themselves, I want to know more about, do I want to know more about that? How do I find out more about that? The answer is by clicking it. So that's how you get viewers without, doing anything else, honestly.
I have a good example about that. I really wanted to show my subs Snake Pass because I find it a fun game, but I was sure that if I used the word Snake Pass, introduction to gameplay, I wouldn't get any views. So I recorded it in 4K 60 FPS, which is something not a lot of people do. And the title was something like, oh, this game looks gorgeous in 4K 60 FPS. And I had the snake in the thumbnail, but not clearly saying what game it was, because I knew that as long as I put good content into the video, and I was grabbing the people's attentions, and the video got, I don't know, almost 1 million views, and if I didn't do that, I'm sure it would get stuck at 50,000, So don't be afraid to be clickbaity as long as the content is good and you're not cheating, You
gotta deliver.
It's also important to make sure it's a video that you're proud of. And the word algorithm is a word none of us wanted to really be as familiar with as we are now. And it's very easy to, when you want to make a video, you want to think about, how can I make this succeed? When everyone should be thinking, how can I make this video that I'm proud of? Which is something that a lot of people are now not, because everyone wants to be a YouTuber now, and they just want to be successful, but they don't know what that means. We've been fortunate enough, and it is luck partially, but also because our videos blew up and they were well put together. So,
yeah, a lot of what clickbait is, it's a poor term. There are really bad ones. Like we all have seen, like YouTube since 2008. You'll see the old Phil DeFranco, and it's just a girl in the thumbnail, she's licking a popsicle, and he's talking about news, and it's like that has nothing to do with anything. So it's definitely gotten better, and there's also those people that circles in the thumbnail. There was a lot of bad stuff, but I think the core of what Jacob's getting at is it really comes down to what you can do, because your video, no matter what you title, your video is going to be the same. What I say is I put 50 hours into a video. I don't care what the title is. I don't care if the thumbnail is not exactly, because I got to a point where I can't make the perfect title. I can't make the perfect thumbnail. I just want to intrigue someone's interest, get them to the video for the first minute to see if they like my content. Because that's the only way you can really stand out from the recommended feeds. Being able to bring your gaming content away from other people is ultimately the goal. You don't really want to be shameless with it. You could argue if it's shameless. I've accepted what it is. I did a video called The Mario Game They Want You to Forget About. It was about Super Paper Mario, a very old game, or not old, it's 10 years old. Yeah, it's so good. Not many people know about it, but it's such a good 2D Mario game, a Paper Mario game. Very different, very weird, and I didn't think this because I played it when I was younger, but I'm like, a lot of people never talk about it, so I'm just going to call the title that. And to my surprise, it did well. So I continued with that titling, and I did it with Super Princess Peach for the DS. That game, another one that was very, not really talked about by Nintendo or anybody, so I really wanted to highlight a lot of it. And it's surprising what you can do, because if I called the video Super Princess Peach for the Game Boy, or the DS, it may not have been interesting. What really gets people to your video is they see the title and they see the thumbnail and it intrigues something in their mind, like a feeling that they get. And if you can get that feeling and hook them on a feeling, no pun intended.
Speaking of that feeling, Alex, would you like to tell us what was in the thumbnail of the Super Paper Mario video?
Super Paper Mario, it was a reference to the game where Peach was like in a dating simulator with this lizard guy.
Would you like to explain further?
I mean, if you want to go see it, it's on the YouTube website.com.
My point is that it's okay to be shameless if you deliver.
Look, yeah, I at least delivered. The other one was a Super Saiyan Princess Peach. Yeah. Anyways.
I see a lot of people looking at their phones now out of curiosity.
Well, the art was custom made and it was a little more.
Risque is the term he's looking for.
After 3 years, you're like, let me try this one time. I'll try it once.
It's always once, they say. This is the last clickbait thumbnail, I promise. I'm trying to quit.
Yeah. It's not a lie, because it does happen. Just not.
Not to that extent.
Well, I think we've seen worse.
So my point is that I'm a connoisseur of quality clickbait. I think it's a hilarious art.
Which is why you clicked on it.
It is, I did click on it. It's quality. And the thing is that there is a lot of, I like to refer to it as like arcs of the YouTube meta, if you will, because that thumbnail might not have performed so well today, might not have performed so well 6 months before. There is, like, people always think of clickbait now, and they're like, oh, red circles, arrows pointing to it, ha ha ha, but that's kind of, it was a little outdated by like 6 months, because now that's so satiric, and it's just, it parodies itself at this point. So if you see the red arrows and circles and everything, you're kind of past that. You're like, wow, look at this thumbnail. Because it's been so exploited, and it's been so, it's just been the center of so many jokes on YouTube of people making fun of clickbait, me being one of them. And so now when you see someone do it, you're like, oh, he's intentionally being shameless. It's, the meta has kind of developed into more of a snapping appeal, where you want to get someone's attention with something pretty, something nice, and they just see that and click on it. And with your video introductions, I don't realize beyond titles and thumbnails, the introduction matters probably the third most before quality or anything like that. Because people will click away within like the first 6 seconds of your video. And that's true. So if you're like with shows like Relax and AntDude, I'm sure like it's a show. They dissect something. Having intros is understandable. But for channels like me, who I'm not a dedicated Let's Player, I have highly edited content, I want to hook the viewer now. As soon as the video starts, I like to put an entertaining clip that's like either funny or has some kind of shock value. You want to hook your viewer in right there, because if you don't, they will click away within the first few seconds. People's attention spans are that short.
If you really want an introduction, honestly, show a highlight of the video and then have a very quick intro, 3-5 seconds, because otherwise people will click away. We did mention algorithm here. I just want to, I know not a lot of people know about this, but the algorithm is a self-learning system, so not even YouTube knows exactly what the algorithm is doing. So keep that in mind. Sometimes people think YouTube is trying to screw you up, and not even the company itself knows exactly what it is doing. And back when I started, 2010 and 11, I remember the homepage had everything was about most views, not watch time. So it was easy, super easy to play the system. You should just ask people to favorite a video. You would get a lot of favorites, you'd go to the homepage. I grew my channel a lot like that. It wasn't like wrong, I was just playing the system. But that's exactly why it's hard to play the system nowadays, because if you let people know how it works, we'll do our job into, just playing it. So it's good to see the other side as well.
Yeah, as you know about like the PewDiePie era, when the gaming on YouTube really started, when he talks about the old algorithm The gaming on YouTube grew as a result of the algorithm changing, which, if you remember animation being huge on YouTube, that's also why animation kind of died on YouTube. The algorithm now supports watch time over views, which was made to counter clickbait. So if someone has a very clickbait thumbnail and you click it and you don't like it, you click away, they get less money, they get, yeah. And so they made that into the algorithm to counter that, and it allows gaming to blossom, because if I want to make a skit or an animation, like a skit takes like a few days to make a 5-minute skit. Animations take a month to make a 5-minute skit if you're rushing it and talented. But gaming, if I record 10 minutes of gameplay, well, I just got a 10-minute video. So that's really how gaming was allowed to blossom. And the thing is, if YouTube changed the algorithm drastically, the gaming could fall in the same vein. So it's a very fickle industry because of that one reason.
And the big problem with that is whenever YouTube changes things, they don't tell anybody. Watch percentage used to be a thing, and that's why no one did end slates for a while, because everyone, people would end their videos like, thanks for watching guys, and there would be like this minute-long end slate, but that would drop the watch percentage, and it would drop you in the search results, and now it's not a thing anymore. You only just found that out recently. Luckily, YouTubers are getting better at talking to each other. We're learning ourselves, because no one else will tell us. But yeah, it's just it's just YouTube. It'd be nice if they said something once in a while. If something goes down on Twitch for 2 minutes, they're like, guys, we're so sorry on Twitter. Yeah. YouTube's like, shut up. It's your fault. It's your guy's fault.
My experience with YouTube is, you report an issue with YouTube, they say, oh, that's not an issue. And then a month later, we corrected the issue. You just said there was no issue. What did you correct then? Yeah, and what you just mentioned about the percentage, the watch percentage, a lot of people are afraid of streaming on YouTube because of that. But for me, streaming works really well. But I think it works really well because my audience likes it. If your audience doesn't like watching streams, then that will be bad for the channel's algorithm.
Like if we were to start streaming on YouTube gaming, we would grow a second audience of stream fans, and then we would lose subscriber fan or video fans whenever we streamed, and then vice versa, and it just becomes this huge disaster.
Yeah, I know me and Ant, we like. It's just weird for our content because it's totally different from the content we put on our YouTube channel. So putting a stream alongside that with YouTube gaming, it just doesn't work. My wish is that they made it so it's two separate channels, sort of shared under the same channel, so it makes it easier for people like that. So it's like, oh, I have my stream channel, which is connected to YouTube gaming. It would just, instead of being under the same video search box. Yeah.
And the reason we all want to do this is because when you get to bigger levels, we're stuck. We can't really diversify our content. So when I've had people ask me, I want to do these different things, what should I do? Whenever you guys start out, you're free to do whatever you want and find out what works for you. We did a thing, and it's like, okay, cool. I want to do this other thing, but that would actually probably hurt me in the end. So I had to, all right, I'll just ride this train, I guess, and turn my wheels.
Yeah, it goes back to just when you're starting out, you really have to just find a niche, find something that will get your foot in the door with YouTube and get you your first little bit of audience, so you can make another video and that audience will go to that video, and it's a slow grind with that. But as you're growing, it's really hard to diversify your content, and I hear it from a lot of people who are maybe around under 200,000, 100,000 subscribers, because you try and diversify and it's only going to hurt you more than it helps. I've only been thankful lately because I can really push what I can actually make, but not everyone is as lucky, because people are fickle. They'll not watch something because it doesn't interest them at all, and they won't come for your content. So starting out, it's kind of sad. You should make what you want to make first and foremost, and people will come. But make sure you're not, if that's what you want to do, make sure you're not doing stuff for cheap, easy views, because you do that for an easy view. Oh, I'm going to make a Fortnite video. I don't really like Fortnite that much, but I know people are going to watch it, and sure they will. But then how long are you still going to like Fortnite and be forced to make that content? Otherwise, you're stuck at that point. So it's a dichotomy there that I feel like I've had to deal with at some point, because I did Smash for a while. I'm like, but I don't want to do just Smash Bros. They only come out every 10 years.
One big thing about diversifying content is that if you want to diversify your content, you have to have one video to make it big outside of that. Because I started in Smash Bros. Like Alex here, and I was kind of stuck in that field. I was stuck around the 200K sub mark, 220K, and I tried so hard to branch out. I tried a lot of Overwatch content. I tried a lot of everything content. I played random games on my channel that I never did before. I made a video of a roller coaster tycoon. You know, I was getting real desperate. And I tried Overwatch a lot. I tried a lot of new series like clickbait, which is just me making clickbait thumbnails in Photoshop. It's not shameless because it's self-aware, I promise. But I tried a lot of different things, and then I started a series called the Not series, where I would play shameless rip-off games and title them, like with Paladins, I titled it Not Overwatch, and now that's like my most viewed video. So if you have a video go viral in your quest to diversify your content, that's the only way to do it. And this is backwards, everyone wants to say I love my fans and they're great, and I do, but they're all liars. People, they will come to you and say, we don't care what content you make, we just want to watch it for you. And that is not true, let me tell you what. When they say that, they still have interest, and they aren't wrong to have interest, they aren't wrong to lie, because I think it's very simple to think that you want to support this person no matter what, but in reality, you'll only watch their content if it interests you. Like, I think Donkey is the most notable exception of being able to branch out of content. He grew as a League YouTuber, he stayed as a League YouTuber, and he reigned as a League YouTuber. Did a few videos here and there, but then when he made the dramatic video of quitting League, somehow his channel grew even more, and that is a rare exception. And it makes sense for someone like Donkey to be able to do that, but it's very uncommon for someone to branch out at that level and grow to his current caliber.
I feel like if you want to do something different, take the opportunity when you don't have a lot to talk about. For example, for me it's really big to cover new releases, and right now things are slow, so now is the right time for me to try something different. And nowadays I don't go crazy when there's not a lot of new games, because before, without experience, I would just go nuts. I wanted to put out content, but I didn't know what. Nowadays, you know, just relax. Okay, God of War did really well, Detroit did really well for me, and right now there's not a lot. Okay, so now is the time to try to play classic games, you know, Resident Evil 1 and 2, that's what I did. It didn't do as well, but that's not a problem. As long as when there's another new game for me, I do a good job, right?
I was having this discussion earlier at a different panel, but if you're an up-and-coming YouTuber, you want to have an idea of what to do, you don't stick to a game and make that you are a X-game YouTuber. You try to find a genre or a specific niche. Like you said, you did Smash, and then you're probably feeling the bottleneck start to close in on you, and then you spread out, and now you guys are doing fine. But couldn't you find a niche in the genre? So it's just a bit of advice, I guess.
Yeah, the last point I wanted to touch on is something related to right now, because with Smash Bros. Ultimate, I'm sure some of you know about like Smash Ultimate being announced. There was an interesting thing you could do on YouTube to help you grow, and I did this the first time. I didn't know what it was called. It's called tentpole programming, and a big way people start getting their content out there is they pitch a tent about a certain content, certain things. So let's say you wanted to do the new Teen Titans, or the Titans in the Teen Titans movie, you want to do Titans content, because all that's coming out. So you do content about that because people are already searching for Titans, so that search result, you will appear when people are searching for that trailer. For Smash Bros. Ultimate, I title all my videos Super Smash Bros. And then something when I'm talking about Smash, because that's what people are searching for. You're always going to find that one, or it'll be easier to find that. And you do that for your tags, your description, and now even with the hashtags as well. That's really all I wanted to touch on. I think we can open up more questions.
Yeah, we're going to open the floor for Q&A if you guys have any questions. Just raise your hands and we'll pick someone. We'll take turns, and we'll all give you some input on your questions.
Outside of production of the video itself and tagging and description and all that, what can you recommend for people in terms of promoting and marketing, like outwards, like aside from what you put into the video itself?
There are hubs that you can upload your content to share to other people. I don't know how effective Twitter would be, but I would imagine like Reddit, if you find a specific subreddit for what you're talking about, because if it's an active subreddit, people will probably click on your stuff. A lot of growing is just luck, but it also takes, it does take you showing off a little bit without being overly pushy. Like, I've had people come to my Twitch chat and be like, can I plug my stuff? And I'd be like, I don't really mind, but it comes off weird. You find the right medium, so that's why I think Reddit is what I tell people, personally.
What I did, there's a Smash Bros. Website called Smashboards, and I put some of my first videos on there, and that really helped me get started. So if you can find, like, probably Reddit would be the place. I don't use Reddit, so I couldn't tell you. but that would seem like a good place. Or if there are any similar hubs for the content you're trying to do, there's a community surrounding that and you can plug it and get people who are interested in that general topic to come to you, then I believe that would be the best place to start.
I'm going to be completely honest, and the grind when you're starting out is so hard. It gets so much easier the bigger you get because you know how to talk to people, because you are now talking to people. When you're making videos for just a few viewers, it feels empty. It's hard. I remember this feeling, but I've never actually admitted this before, but like my grind, I did the whole follow for follow on Twitter at the time. I was like hashtag follow for follow, searching through that, trying to find other people, DMing people for thanking for following and subscribing. I went on Omegle to plug my videos and I said sub for sub. I saw a lot of very happy men on the side, but they still like the content nonetheless. I remember I was interacting with a man, I was like follow for follow, and it was just all hanging out, but he liked the content, and you know what? Probably still subbed. He was my first 40 subs, so that's the thing. Like, you have to find innovative ways to get subs. I haven't done that since, and I don't plan on it, but I still know that's an option.
Tinder profile.
I feel like
No, that's a good one.
in the beginning, it's so hard to get noticed. But when you do get noticed by a single person, give that person attention, because that person will engage with your future content and be part of the community. And word of mouth is really powerful. But also remember that in the beginning, always try to make sure that people who are watching one video watch another one, because that's so important for YouTube. If the person stays within YouTube because of a video of yours, you get recommended a lot. So remember to put cards, end cards, things like that, so you recommend your own content and people stay within that, because then it gets recommended. That's the easiest way to grow, in my opinion. The problem is first getting noticed. That's really hard.
There's definitely a science to it. It's all about passion, because you wouldn't be doing it if you weren't passionate about it in the first place. But there are scientific things about the YouTube system that you should abide by, like end cards and or cards in general, and that helps out.
All right, any more questions? The plaid,
Yeah, it's always a race. It's whoever gets their hand up first. We lock eyes, and I feel bad if we don't pick you.
So if you do a lot of more heavily edited content, but you find that it takes a long time to get out, is it better then to go in and make instead of doing all fancy effects and everything, is it better to try to be more consistent and just go like straight cuts, like something more similar to your content than not an insult, but I mean
No. I just mean we're 4 people up here.
Sorry, something more similar to yours than RelaxAlax, where this is more, I think, edited. Just to get it out more
I will say, the question is it better to make heavily edited content, or is it better to make rushed content? And I will be completely honest, RelaxAlax's content is way better than mine.
But it also takes longer and I make less.
Yeah, my channel has grown so much because I feed into the algorithm so well, and that's because people don't really put it together, but my channel is honestly a Let's Play channel that's highly edited. I take out all the dead space and it's so accommodated. It's frantic, and also I have a background in editing. Like, I went to school for film, I have a rich background in working in editing, so I'm heavily carried by those traits. So I would say it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to grow, if you want to make the money, you feed into the algorithm, and that's the truth. But if you want content you're proud of, well...
It really goes back to what do you want to be known for? There's a lot of times where I'm making something and I do cut some things out because I'm like, this is going to take too long. There's my last video. I was going to do some really contrived animated thing for just a joke that lasted 5 seconds. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun. But it would have taken 2 days. It was not worth it. You got to make those sacrifices. But a lot of the time I'm like, this is the brand I want to be recognized as, because that brand can often be a contributing factor to why people stay. And it's really what you're trying to be online. What do you want to be known as? So if you start kind of dwindling down on that, because I could do that a lot and make my videos much quicker, have them out weekly, but it wouldn't feel like the content I want to create. there's a lot of pride in a lot of stuff. But I think every artist, it comes down to, are you an artist or are you there for business? And I would say I'm there for like being an artist. That's what I consider my content to be. So it's really what you want to get out of what you're putting into YouTube, and where do you see yourself at the end? Do you want like a big audience? Do you want to make something people remember? Do you want to make people laugh? Do you want to make people's days, etc.? It's really what you want to bring out of it.
Let me add something real quick, because that sounded way more shameless than I intended it to be. I have a lot of fun doing what I do, and I did the exact same thing before. I realized that feeds into the algorithm. Mainly the only change I made was, oh, well, I made like 6-7 minute videos, and now I need to pad it out to 10 minutes. That's probably the only sacrifice I ever really made in my content. Even when my channel was really young, outside of the How to Play series that went viral, my content at the time was still me playing games that were just, the highlights were just edited. My content has stayed really consistent over the years. Just the thing is the outliers went viral, so I had to stick to those for a little bit. But it just do what you love, honestly. That's the truth.
And consider you can do both. Like, I do mostly Let's Plays, but I like highly edited videos, and I have an editor for that. Of course, when you're starting, you probably cannot afford an editor, but as long as you differentiate your regular content with your special content, then it's actually a good way to bring new people into the channel that might stay for everything. For me, the highly edited videos, they have a different thumbnail, different title. People know what they're getting when they click. So consider you can have both, and maybe you can alternate, 3 easier to edit videos with one that is highly edited, and make sure that the highly edited one has, a different thumbnail, title, etc.
I think the question was if it's better to do edited or quote unquote rushed content. It depends on your definition of better. If financially better, I guess their type of content is better, but again, it just boils down to what you're proud of. Because I used to do Let's Plays, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. And I could do the edited Let's Play stuff too, but I don't think I would enjoy it as much. So this comes down to what they've said, what you want to make.
Honestly, whatever works. Like, what I'm making now, I wouldn't have said a couple years ago, like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to be making 4 years. I'm pretty sure Jacob didn't know either. It kind of just happens, and you roll with it, and you adapt to whatever you want to do and what you feel comfortable with doing. Yeah, next question. Let's go in front row.
I was just wondering, because I see like certain YouTube channels where rather than just like one person, it's like kind of a group, and sometimes they're even like a group made of like different people from different YouTube channels. And I was wondering, is it like better to be in like a group, or like what would be the main differences between just sort of being on your own and being with like some friends and making a channel like that?
It's a good question. Like, I'm a huge proprietor to like collaboration and cooperation with people will net you like big results. Are you talking like a channel like, say, the Game Theorists, where they have multiple people and they contribute, if you know that channel?
Yes, I'm subscribed to that.
Okay, so a channel like that, for content that they're making, it's very strong because you have multiple people helping and you can help grow your content. Like, Matt Patty's very smart as a businessman and a person creating content because he can get all the content out there that is the stuff he wants to produce, but weekly, or more than weekly, I don't even know, but he produces a lot and he has multiple shows on there. It's good for that type of content. So if I wasn't stubborn, I'd agree, but I'm way too stubborn, and I like for my channel, I'm like, no, it's me, it's my show, so it's me and the cat to the end. Oh, and Monica, but we don't talk about that. And Jacob, and I had a side channel with, it was gameplay as well, and it was like my friends here, we were in it. But I think that's a different, unless you meant something like that as well, like people who play games together.
Because I originally saw Alpharad channels just on his own,
Right.
And through that I discovered the group channel, Friends Without Benefits. So then I kind of got curious. It's like, because I've seen other channels where it's like there's individuals, but then I see some channels where they're like a group of people instead. So I wondered, it's like, what are kind of the differences between that? Like, is there like a benefit, or like?
Well, I think all of our main channels have been solo. I mean, the idea of group mentality, probably like Normal Boots and those guys, where it's a bunch of YouTubers coming together. The hype behind that isn't as high as it used to be when it's like them and Screw Attack and Hidden Block.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Balrog. Again, it depends on your definition of better. It is best when YouTubers talk, because a lot of times we're just stuck in a box in front of our computer. We have to get our video done and we can't talk. That's one reason we come here, so we can talk about our experience and stuff. So better in the sense we have more fun. In terms of content, it's just looking just what you get out of it.
I would consider doing collab videos, but having a channel with other people, it could get messy, honestly. And then it's something you want to do for the long term, and you never know if in 2 years you still want to do that with another person. I would start with a collab, but not a channel that is owned by multiple people. You know, you have your own channel, your friend has his own channel, you do something together, and that's it.
Yeah, it can get messy, especially the bigger you get. A lot of people don't realize that Alpharad was once a joint channel of me and my friend Major. But I was like, well, I'm Alpharad, and you're just here, so we kind of had each other's, we split into different channels, but this was when I was like at 2,000 subscribers. So it didn't really make a difference. If I made that choice now, it would be huge. If you ever want to talk about how channels can get messy, the prime example is the John and Dan dilemma from Game Grumps. Because that's controversy that still goes around even today. But I think the pros and cons of a group channel, because I guess your question was about Alpharad and Vlog. It's Alpharad, I would never want to sacrifice that to become a group channel, because I think, well, the nice parts of a group channel, I should say, is that you have a group mentality. We don't make spontaneous decisions because we have to run everything by each other. So, and under the same vein, you disagree a lot. So it can be a little aggravating at times. But the nicest part about FWAB is that we all have shared workloads. With Alpharad, I do all the heavy lifting on my own, but with FWAB, it's split 5 ways, but under the same coin, the revenue is split 5 ways. So the channel feels like it makes a lot less than it actually does, because it's split between 5 of us. And so I think if you want to do something, you should do it alone. But I definitely wouldn't be doing what I did because I had like confidence issues when I started. I wasn't confident behind a microphone, and that was saved by me playing with someone. So you don't necessarily have to have a group channel to play with someone. You can still have a friend play with you for your channel, because that's what helped me get over my confidence issues, just by being with someone. Because it feels more like a conversation than you talking to a computer.
All right, another question. Let's see, we'll go back. Yes, you.
You, yes, you. Okay, two quick questions.
Sure.
One is, what if you, like, is there value in going for like a much more like niche audience as opposed to like more broad appeal?
In short, you'll strike on that niche audience. They'll find you, but it may like fizzle out at higher, like the bigger you get, and you'll realize, oh, this isn't getting more views. That's like upper level. But if you're starting out, it's not a bad idea at all, I would say. Generals can be hard because there's a lot of competition. Like if you're another person doing Fortnite or League or XYZ, everyone's doing that. It's really hard to find your video. Oh.
Canadians and Zed.
It's Zed, okay? It is Zed.
The Americans are the only ones who disagree.
What's an inch? Anyways, yeah.
We're in Canada.
I would think broader topics. It's just much harder. It's possible. Like anything is possible in my mind, because YouTube, people get big off of everything. But if you're doing gaming, I would say like a niche audience. If you really like this game and it's not big, but you do like it, I think it would be a good place to start. It may be hard, but it would be good to find an audience, and if you can find the right viewers, because there are people out there, and some people may not even be talking about that game.
It's a neat way to get started, because we talk about gaming saturation. Every big game has been talked about. So at some point you got to dig deep into games that no one talks about, like Super Princess Peach and stuff. I did a video on Buck Bumble. Who in the hell? Yeah, exactly. But it worked out because who the hell? But again, just diversifying what's niche and what's not. Yeah, just you find what works for you. Niche audiences. People are going to search for every game out there on the planet. There's some Commodore 64 game that someone's probably searching for, and there's one guy who did a video on some game, and that guy's a huge fan. But yeah, it just depends.
I feel like if you're doing something that is niche, it's way easier to have a very reliable audience. People that will stick with you, will actually support you. If you need like to have a Patreon, something like that. I feel like if you're doing a niche thing, people will support you, more likely to support you. But it's harder to, just because you have a limit that is way lower than what you could reach with something broader.
I don't really have anything to add to that. I think they kind of covered it. So I'll take the next question. God, you won. What's up?
If you don't have a capture card or any way to record a screen to make it look pretty, what do you think would be the best option?
So the question is, what are the alternatives to not having a capture card? Which, for those of you who don't know, is what makes the PlayStation go to the computer and allow the computer to record that. For your video creation or streaming, there are a few alternatives. None are as good as a capture card. Getting a capture card is obviously the best way to go. But if you have I had a friend who made a Smash Bros montage, and he did not have a capture card, but the Wii U had a native upload replay to YouTube. So he uploaded like 40 replays to YouTube and then downloaded them off of YouTube to edit them and then upload it again. So there's dedication to alternatives, and that's what you do? Yeah, see? The Switch, that's what I was about to say. Now the Switch you can record anything that, if the game allows it, you can hold the capture button, it records the past 30 seconds, and PlayStation does the exact same thing.
I plugged the micro SD card into my...
Okay, you plug some, that's smarter. So there are alternatives to a capture card that, mainly only because of technology now, because consoles now have captures and you can post to social media. When I want to make an Odyssey thumbnail and I'm lazy, I will go into the camera mode on Super Mario Odyssey, take a picture, post it to Twitter, take the picture down, delete the tweet, and then make it a thumbnail. There are many ways to skin a horse.
There's also external devices like the Hopage.
But it's still a capture card.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about internal.
Yeah. If you have a PC, you can download free software for that.
Yeah, there's free softwares like OBS, and if you're doing older games, it's a lot easier because you can get emulators and then record the emulator, and OBS is free.
That works for me.
Emulators are fine.
That's legal stance on it. That's right. If you have
Legal schmiggle.
That's true. Maybe in Canada it's legal. Could be true.
America. I don't see anything you can say on that. Oh, no. All right, we'll take another question.
Maybe you should move on the technical side of things. Like, how easy is it to switch FDR in a Twitch setup just to go to YouTube? Is it just the switch the key out, or is there like little nitty gritty?
It's just the key.
It's literally just the key that you use the same settings?
Yeah. Sometimes YouTube gaming's finicky. Every time I try and switch every now and then. And I don't think I'm supposed to, but I think I did it once for some reason. But it's just finicky. I can't even explain it. It's usually just as simple. It might have just been a me problem. So, yeah.
So it sounds about right.
There are ways to stream to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time.
Yeah, but if you grow on Twitch, they don't allow that.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I shouldn't have one on YouTube Gaming. I forget why I did, but if you're an affiliate, it's actually in your contract that you can't stream on that service.
Partners as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oops.
Well,
You won the race. Well, let's get this question.
All right. This is more for Relax, but I guess for Alpharad as well. You had a really weird niche video on Toadstool Tour.
Oh yeah. You know it.
Amazing video. And I guess Alpha had a very similar one with the Sesame Street Fighter, which is
Thank you.
a really strange video on stuff.
Still hold the worldwide speed run for Sesame Street Fighter.
So what sort of makes you want to make those videos on just really weird niche?
Oh, the Toadstool was just a commentary on how serious the Smash community takes themselves, so that's all that was.
Okay. So
I essentially, for everyone else who doesn't know, I did a video on a Mario Golf game for the GameCube, and I essentially just took it as seriously as people take esports in many ways, and I got a lot of fans to take videos like, I love this game too, and I do like the game, honestly, but it was more of just, I wonder how far I could take this if I said that this is like a super serious game, and you'd be surprised it actually has some mechanics, but it was more just to see, and also as the commentary of the video, to speak on just other stuff. That was the reason I did it in the first place.
I did it because it's funny. But actually, I had I was parroting games, or good games done quick, and summer games done quick, or awesome games done quick. That was AGDQ. It's a speedrun tournament for charity. This was a video called Dead Games Done Quick, and I thought about turning it into a series. I didn't, but I looked on speedrun.com, and I was only going to pick a game that had 0 runners, 0 or 1. I found a game with 1 runner called Sesame Street Fighter, and as you can imagine, it is, think of Street Fighter characters. You have like Grover on Blanca, and then you have Ernie and Bert as Ryu and Ken, and Elmo is M. Bison.
Wow.
But it's a typing game, and you have to type. You should make a video on it. It's great. Yeah, shout me out. It's a typing game. It's a flash game, and the better characters have harder to spell words. Like Bernie, or like Bert and Ernie.
Bernie.
Bernie.
That's their fusion.
It's a fusion dance. They have to spell words like boy, cat, dog, and then. And Bison is the strongest character. His topics are Russian capitals. So that's where it gets a little hard. And the speedrunning aspect it was a parody of a documentary, and it was about how serious this game is. It's kind of similar to that, but it's shot in like a mini doc format about how people going even further beyond in speedrunning, because I realized that in this, if you are in hit stun, which means as soon as they hit you, you can't type a letter. So, and there's 0 frame buffer on it. So if you, that's what it looks like. He pulled it up. But if someone hits you, you cannot type a letter. They lock you in hit stun. And if you misspell a word, you have to start over at the beginning. So if the word was cat, if you just held down the C key, it just kept infinitely putting them in hit stun. So I thought it was hilarious because I plugged in 4 keyboards into my computer and held down the C key, and the fight was over like that. So I think only because of how hilariously unintentional this coding error was, that's the only reason that inspired the video.
Yeah. Any more questions? Okay.
I was wondering because you were mentioning how you can't, if you become an affiliate with Twitch, you can't do the streaming on YouTube. And then I just sort of got curious because I've had like a few friends who said they posted stuff on YouTube and stuff, but then like I see like all the really big channels, and then at one point I just started thinking, it's like, how do you know you become like one of the bigger things? Like for Twitch, when you become an affiliate, do they just email you and it's like,
It's a process.
There's like a list of achievements on Twitch.
because I was just wondering, it's like what would happen? Would you just go on your channel one day and just see this big message and you're just like, oh, I guess this is a thing now?
Actually, kind of. Because Twitch has a list of achievements that I don't know, I forget what it is for affiliate, but just have
3 average viewers,
Three average
50
viewers.
followers. I know I'm very close.
Yeah. So it just then checks marks that, and then you give it like a week, and then Twitch emails you like, you know what, we can give you a shot, and then you could decline, but I don't know why you would. But yeah, you just keep working at it, and then they're like, okay.
Is it similar for like YouTube?
YouTube Partners is more just a thing.
There's no process for you.
There's not a process. That one just happens.
Yeah.
And I think the only concerning factor in that is that there aren't really any consequences from becoming a Twitch partner or a Twitch affiliate. This isn't the advice I'm supposed to give you, but the Twitch staff isn't really too concerned with the YouTube streaming until you make them aware of it, because if I still have subs left over on Twitch that are still giving money, that's still money to Twitch, and they don't really want to lose that. So if you formally want to start streaming on YouTube, you do have to abandon your contract with Twitch. But technically, like if you streamed on here and back and forth, they don't want you to do that, but they wouldn't terminate your contract, but they would threaten it. This is bad advice. Don't stream on both, is what I'm trying to say.
We have only 5 more minutes, so I'll open up for his question because he's been trying to ask it.
Yes. Since we were talking about editing earlier, what editing
Premiere. Don't use Vegas. Don't use Vegas. Sorry.
Use Vegas.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
If you can get free soft, I don't know the free softwares right now. I got Vegas back in the day. That's what everyone used. Like
It was on Humble Bundle a while back.
Yeah, it comes and goes as with Power Correct.
I will trash Vegas every day of my life, but I will say that it's better now than it was in the past. So Premiere is probably the best editing one of the best editing software right now. If you're working with like Hollywood films, Avid is typically what they use in the industry. But for YouTube, I think the two best editing softwares are Premiere and Final Cut 10. Final Cut 10 was the laughing stock when Final Cut 7 transitioned into it because it's completely different. But it has live rendering, it has a lot of nice quirks to it that make it better specifically for YouTube editing, not necessarily like industry film editing, but for YouTube editing, I think Final Cut is like the best editing software you can get, but it's Mac exclusive, which makes a lot of sense for you guys to not be Mac users. So that's why I always recommend Premiere on top of that.
The reason why I use Vegas is because I started with it, and I feel like it got way better, especially after Sony sold it to Magix. Now renders are fast and all, and I feel like it's the most precise one for timing. But if I would start today, I would use Premiere for sure.
You should use Windows Movie Maker. That was good. That was good time. White text, light blue backgrounds.
Hey, it's good. It's good for quick splices.
I was actually looking to see if I could find Windows Movie Maker because I wanted to do a video in that style.
You have to download Windows Live Essentials 2012 to get it.
I know what I'm doing when I get home.
There you go. It
Yeah,
works.
we can squeeze in one quick or final question. Anybody? One final question.
Fight.
Yeah, sure.
So, on my channel, I basically all do the same type of content, like kind of let's play with groups like Couch Co-op. But I have one video that got so much more popular than everything else. Like everything else I have is under 100, and this one video is 600,000. And I'm wondering, do I keep up with that content because I disassembled my Switch and painted it, and that's what got popular. I don't know anything about how to do that. I just did it, and now everybody wants me to do it again. They want me to like disassemble all their consoles.
It's really, if that's what you want to be known for, you could continue with it and it could really help you grow to a point. It's just, do you really want to put in that time for something that is a little bit of a gimmick? You know what I mean? It's hard.
There's some people who make that their thing. Yeah. So if you want to do it, because I know nothing about it, but that's all any of my comments are. Just do it again. Paint another.
People will ask you to do something. People a lot of times will ask you to do something and they don't really want to watch that. They just ask. They ask me to play like a niche game, and if I make a video about it, it doesn't get any views. You gotta be careful with the vocal minorities, but it's probably not a minority if you got a lot of views, but still consider if you want to do that.
I think that's all the time we've got. We're gonna get back to Animal Crossing and like
He's been saving that.
all right. Oh, before you go, if you're interested at all in my content and want a snazzy little sticker that's free, I mean, come and grab it.